Catan is an award-winning tabletop game that serves as a gateway into the hobby for many people, including myself. It's one of the most popular games in recent history due to its appeal to both experienced and new players. More than 2 decades after its release, Catan still holds high praise in the tabletop community, though for many gamers, it now sits on the shelf. So we want to show you 3 house rules that breathe new life into this classic.
The welfare variant was developed by game designer Alf Seegert. To play, you will need a handful of tokens or coins. The rules are fairly straightforward. If you do not collect any resources during a turn, you receive a welfare token. During your turn, you can exchange these tokens at the rate of 1 per non-hidden victory point for a resource card of your choice.
So my biggest takeaway after playing this variant was that it really sped up the early game, which I thought was a slower piece of Catan that I didn't always enjoy. So right away, I felt like we kicked into that late stage a bit earlier, and that's where I really find like the meat of the Catan strategy. So I liked that. Also, once you have a lot of settlements and cities, you're covering most of the numbers, and you have, say, like 8 victory points, the welfare tokens don't do a whole lot for you. It's hard to get them, and it takes a lot to spend them. So really what happened is in the late stage, that welfare variant kind of leaves the game, and you're left with original Catan, which I liked a lot.
Yeah, and the other thing it was doing was it was serving as a really good catch-up mechanic, so it was really negating those big blowout games, right? So the player who's way behind, it's a lot cheaper for them to be obtaining the resources they need to catch up. And then the other thing I noticed is that the trading got really interesting because you would always be throwing in an extra token or 2 just to sweeten the pot. Tired of everyone trying to pawn off all their useless sheep? This next variant, submitted on BoardGameGeek, balances the value of the resources through all stages of the game. In this game mode, every player is given a different recipe card with a unique set of resources needed to build the various structures. You can print out the different recipe cards linked below.
So this variant was really interesting because I think it encouraged trading among all of us. For instance, a brick for me may not have been that useful. It could have been more felt like a sheep, and therefore is more willing to trade it to someone. And on their side of the table, they might have thought that brick was, the best thing for them. So trades were a lot smoother when we played with this variant, and I like that.
Yeah, I did like it. It was a little confusing as a player who's played Catan like literally 100 times, and so those recipes are just ingrained in my brain. So the whole time, I'm just struggling to remember what it takes to build a road. Mm-hmm. And of course, there's the issue of just thematically, like, how am I building this road with a sheep and wheat? What is actually happening in that scenario? But I mean, if you can get past that, like, it's fine. It's all right.
Do the dice hate you? The Clay Crucible by Michael Iacchini completely removes the random dice element and puts the control in the player's hands. To play, replace the number tokens with the numbers 2 through 7, each appearing 3 times. Give each player 7 playing cards from the same suit, ace through 7. Instead of rolling dice, play one of your cards to determine which hexes produce resources. Playing the ace activates the robber, and you also get to pick up the playing cards you've previously played. You can't play your ace in back-to-back turns.
This rule added probably the most complexity or strategy to the game. It was a bit of a brain burner, and I think that was because there were so many choices in front of you about which card to play. It will give you these resources, it will give your opponent those resources. So that was interesting. People should expect the game to take a little bit longer as you think through all those decisions. But I still really liked it. It added another layer of strategy. So for someone who plays a lot of Euro games, I think they'd actually enjoy this a lot.
Yeah, and going into it, I thought that people would just be dropping the aces and moving the robber around vindictively all the time. And that didn't actually turn out to be the case. I think in most scenarios, since you have the choice to play the number card that you need, even if the robber is on you, interestingly, a lot of times you would say, well, I really need those wood right now, so I'm just going to do that instead. So It wasn't overpowered. It actually worked out pretty well.
Yeah,